that's not up here, that's here. When you act from here, which I did from seeing the Beatles, that ignited the whole thing, that's my whole point, is I did follow my heart. When you do that, you're unstoppable, undeniable, and very authentic. Part of being ready is just like being in the Super Bowl. There's gonna be a lot of stuff that's gonna happen that you didn't plan on, didn't expect.
How has streaming changed music?
There's no guarantees that anybody's gonna make it. Like I said, I thought I was gonna make it, but if I knew what I know now, I'd be like, oh man, boy, it's a good thing you didn't. It's a good thing you thought you were gonna make it, because it's not that easy. It's not obvious. You don't go walk through door number 1 and come out door number 2 successful.
So Kenny, we're talking about the career category today, and this is the category in which we spend most of our waking hours. It's pretty important, right?
Yep.
So let me ask you this. What did you envision when you first wanted to start drumming as a career? Did you envision that you'd be here?
Well, I naively thought I was going to make it. But now I realize what it takes to make it. I'm like, wow, that was pretty bold. I mean, I saw the Beatles on TV. I mean, I was this little kid playing outside, 10 years old, and there was nothing to watch on TV. And my mom yelled at me and my brother, come in the house. And I thought, shit, I'm in trouble, which was usually the case. So we go running into the family room, and there's this black and white RCA TV set with the antenna, to get reception, because there was no cable back then.
Right.
And instead of my mom yelling at me, she's pointing to the TV, and there's 4 guys. The Beatles were on the TV.
On the Ed Sullivan Show, right?
Yeah, Ed Sullivan Show. And, they had these cool suits on. They weren't like your dad's suits, and they had long hair, which was like, whoa, that's cool. And, they started playing, and I'd heard them on the radio, but I'd never seen them, because there was no internet back then. So it was that split second I went, I'm doing that. I want to do that. I got to do that. I got to be in the band. And that would be, I guess, when I realized what my purpose in life is, before I even knew what those words meant.
Wow.
It's like, I want to do that. I want to be in a band. I want to make music. I want girls going crazy over for me. I want to have long hair, which didn't quite ever work out for me, but the girls did. And then, at that point, I'm like, I didn't know they were the Beatles. So I go, Mom, who are these guys? She said, well, they're the Beatles. Well, I want to be in the Beatles. Call them up and get me in the band. Ringo can stay there, but I'm playing drums, and of course she never. And forget the piano lessons. I'm done with piano. I want to do that because I was drawn to the energy and the excitement and the whole rock and roll thing. And so that literally, that fire has never gone away, ever.
Awesome.
Now, I was 100% clear what I want to do.
Oh yeah.
But I wasn't clear how to get there.
Yep.
I mean, my mom didn't call the Beatles up, so I was kind of...
Yeah, who do you call to get into the Beatles, right?
Exactly. But my parents saw that I was crazy and really into drumming and hitting on things and I'm buying records. And so they finally get me a snare drum and a cymbal. And I start my first band called the Alley Cats.
Yep.
And I stood and played because I didn't even have a stool. And we played Beatles music. And I'd shut my eyes and dream about being in the Beatles and blowing my hair and the girls going crazy. And the cool thing about that whole story is 50 years later, 50, I become Kenny Aronoff. I get called to do a TV show on CBS called The Beatles, The Night That Changed America. Honoring the Beatles for that Ed Sullivan Show, and now I'm the drummer in the band.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I get to play with Paul and Ringo Starr, the 2 existing Beatles, 50 years later. And I shared that with them.
Dude.
And not only did I play with them, it was like Stevie Wonder, Joe Walsh from the Eagles, Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters, Jeff Lynne from ELO, Alicia Keys, John, Legend, the duet, Keith Urban, John Mayer, duet, Brad Paisley, and on and on. And when I got done, by the way, there was 30 minutes left in the show, and I'm just like, I kicked butt. I did a good job. I was really happy. I mean, you're playing Ringo's parts in front of Ringo, and you're playing with Ringo.
It's pretty badass,
as he's singing, yeah. So I go out into the, I'd met him because I did the Grammys with him the night before, but I never had a chance to really talk to him because everybody was around him.
Right.
So I'm heading out there to, just kind of watch the rest of the show, and there are these elite seats, like Tom Hanks' wife, Ringo Starr's wife, Paul McCartney's girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, John Lennon and George Harrison's widows. Then 3 actors, Tom Cruise, Johnny Depp, Sean Penn. And they're all acknowledging me, and I'm like, wow. But Ringo's going, bravo, Kenny, great job. So I'm looking around. Everyone's looking at me. Tom and I are talking a little bit because I know him because I've done some stuff with him.
Mm-hmm.
I get down on one knee, and I'm trying to think what I'm going to tell Ringo, and he goes, it's okay, Kenny, I'm already married. And I know, isn't that great? And so I went, no, dude, you're the reason why I play drums. You're the reason why I play rock and roll. And you and the Beatles set me on a course at age 10 that I've been on ever since. And I just want to thank you, man. I am here because of you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I walked away and started thinking, you know what? Because that just rolled out of my mouth. I went, you know, in order to be good at anything, I don't care if it's drums, sports, business, doesn't matter. You got to love what you do. Yeah. That's the takeaway. Yeah. You got to love what you do. You got to find out what your deepest desires are, your purpose, your bliss, your truth, your passion, whatever you want to call it. Because when you, and that's not up here, that's here. When you act from here, which I did from seeing the Beatles, that ignited the whole thing. That's my whole point, is I did follow my heart. When you do that, you're unstoppable, undeniable, and very authentic. Because that's you just being you.
Yeah, and that's the one.
And
man.
check this out. I got this line. It goes like this. I'll never be as great as I want to be, but I'm willing to spend the rest of my life trying to be as great as I can be.
That's such a good quote.
Look at drumming makes me feel good mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Why stop? Right?
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wow.
Why wouldn't I do that?
Exactly. If something makes you feel good in literally every single way,
yeah,
and makes you look good, by the way, you're a stud, man.
I'm 23, going on 24. No.
Yeah, but I mean, like, why would you stop, right?
Right, exactly. You know, the interesting thing about that, to go deep, is that when you're a kid, I'm doing it because I really got to do it. I got to do this.
Right.
I told the universe I'm going to be a drummer. I'm going to do this, and I'm behind. And I felt like I just told everybody I'm going to do it, and I'm like, well, you're not really great yet. So I felt like I had to really give it all I got, nonstop, to be great.
Absolutely. A quote that I love by you is, repetition is preparation for success.
The point is that if I want to get better at something on the drum set, my profession, just put in more time.
Yeah.
Put in more time. It's like, you're not good enough? Put in more time. It might take a year to get to where you want to go. But if you do nothing, you get nothing. It's like a math equation. Remember math?
Yep.
0 equals 0.
Nothing changes if nothing changes, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, nobody's born successful, and success isn't going to land in your lap.
So the music industry is a crazy business. Was there ever a point where it got so crazy that you felt like giving up, or did that fire always just keep you going?
Fire always kept me going. What's the North Star? What is the big goal here? And the big goal is, when you're making a record, is to get the song on the radio to be number one. That's what all these records are. Number one hits. There's a number one hit on every record here. Because when you become number one, you just made millions of dollars for the artist and the record label. That's your job. You're you're in a business. Well, nobody told me that. I just thought it was all about me. And now I learned, guess what? It's about we.
Right.
Not me, we.
I love that.
I didn't know how to serve the band, serve the artist, serve the song. Steve Cropper needed a drummer who had experience. I had no experience. He needed to get this record done in 8 weeks, and there was no time for me to hang around and learn how to be a good session drummer. I was devastated. But a big takeaway that kicks back to purpose and desire and your deepest desires and your bliss and all that, is that when John told me to go home, I went, no friggin' way am I going home. Because he was stealing my purpose and my bliss, and there was no way I was going home.
Right.
I wanted this so bad, I was willing to say no. That'd be like if I told you, hey, Justin, you're fired. You go, no, I'm not. I'm like, huh? No, you're fired. I just fired you. No, I'm not. I go, what don't you understand about the words, you're fired? You don't want to go. So I didn't want to go. I was like, no, I'm not going. I want to stay here. I want to watch these drummers play my drum parts on your record, and I'm going to learn from them. I said, am I still your drummer? He went, yeah, but you're not playing on the record. I said, well, I'm going to watch these guys. I'm going to get better. And that's good for you because I'm your drummer. And he didn't say anything. I went, okay, you don't have to pay me. I'll sleep on the couch. And he went, he went, perfect.
That's lovely.
So that's the truth, man. And I'm just talking to Steve Cropper, who was the producer 44 years ago.
Wow.
Anyway, we made the record, but that record was so difficult. Two guys got fired in the band doing the record.
Oh, wow.
I almost got in a fist fight with them.
Oh, wow.
It was horrible. And one day I walked in the studio, and the co-producer had this metal box. And I said, what's that? He said, oh, yeah, the Bee Gees are using it. Next door, it's like the new sounds, new technology. I went, it's called a Lin 1 drum machine. I went, drum machine? They replaced drummers. I'm like, I got replaced by two humans 2 years ago. Now I'm getting replaced. So this is what I call fight or fight. Grab the machine, grab the manual, and I call it adapt or die, because this is new technology.
Right.
This is what happens in every business, look at this. This is a Bluetooth mic. I never saw that before till today. Technology comes in, and you have to adapt to it to stay relevant.
Adapt or die, right?
Adapt or die. Yeah. If I hadn't taken that machine, then they would have hired someone else to program. I programmed it, gave it back to them, and while I'm thinking in the lounge, wow, are the drummers being replaced by machines now? Is this the new way? Am I in the horse and buggy business? And now the cars showed up, and we're going out. and then I get asked to come in 2 hours later, and John's going, Aronoff, we need a drum solo right here after the second chorus. I'm like, a drum solo on a ballad? I'm like, wow. I'm going, okay, you got to save the song, save your career. Save the song, save the career. Okay, now, serve the song. You got to get this song on the radio. Thank God we spent all day getting drum sounds. And I'm thinking, what am I going to play that'll sound good through a car stereo speaker? See, I'm learning. Or how about the TV set speaker? Or a little transistor radio or a boombox?
Right.
I'm thinking, okay, you got to be smart about this. Finally, it's my time to come up with a thing. And eventually I come up with a cool part. Ended up being John Cougar Mellencamp's biggest #1 hit single ever in the history of his career, Jack and Diane.
Such a good song.
It's killer. I mean, it features drums. And I was just happy it made it on the record. But here's how the record business worked back then. So they released Hurt So Good because it tested well. They play all the songs on the record on the radio station, and people call up, hey, man, we like this Hurt So Good song. I mean, they test market it like a product. And they find out that kids like this stuff, and they release it. It went to #2. It couldn't get to #1 because Eye the Tiger was #1, and that was the theme song for Rocky 1.
Yep.
And so, you have movie promoting the soundtrack to, So there's no way. So Hurt So Good starts to slip down to 3, 4, and they went test market again. Everyone likes Jack and Diane. They release it. It goes flying up the charts, becomes #1, and Hurt So Good stayed in the top 10.
Wow.
Now we have 2 songs in the top 10. Now think about this. Top 10, you're competing with the Stones, Billy Joel, Elton John, The Police, The Pretenders, Tom Petty, whoever else is big. There's only 10 slots, and we got 2 of them.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, John's career exploded, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, who's that drummer? My career completely got launched from that. And all of this is driven by passion and desire. I got to do this. And there were so many setbacks and moments where I could have gone. I know people a lot of people would have gone the same for me.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about Jack and Diane. A lot of people don't really understand that you don't necessarily dance to the music, you dance to the drums, right?
Yeah.
So when you're up on stage and you're listening and learning and leading, that's a lot of pressure up there, right? Because if you miss one hi-hat, then the whole thing is like a little bit lopsided.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that pressure, and how do you alleviate that stress after you're done performing?
I got rid of the fear. It only went away from just so much experience of being under pressure like that. Turned into I know how to get from A to Z. I know how to prepare to be ready. And by the way, part of being ready is just like being in the Super Bowl. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to happen that you didn't plan on, didn't expect.
Right.
And being as prepared as you can, RPS, being as prepared as you can be will help you solve problems when you get into those tricky moments, those unpredictable moments.
Right.
And when something doesn't go the way you wanted it to, or you did something you wish you hadn't done, dude, you got to be like a ninja. You got to be like a Jedi. You know, the Jedi, everything's going, geez, 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 geez. And they're like, dunk, dunk. You got to be cool. Because if you start thinking about that bullet that just knocked your wing off, you're going to die.
Right.
You want to live or die. So I just go, whoosh, next. Get rid of your little childhood emotions and just step up to the plate. What's my mission? What's my goal? What's my mission?
Yeah, I like that.
To make no more, do everything perfect from this point forward and keep everybody in line, get this job done. And then afterwards, the way I might celebrate is I will go through a checklist and say, well, how did you do? Total honesty, transparent with myself. You can critique yourself, but try not to be in such a negative place that it does bad things to
try not
you.
to be
You
overly
know, you
critical.
got to be a coach, a mature coach, and the player at the same time.
Absolutely.
You know, and then I have a couple glasses of wine.
Very nice.
That's the way I will celebrate and unwind after an event like that.
Very cool. So, when you're about to walk on stage and let's just say something bad happens, like you get into a fight with maybe someone in the band or your spouse or something. Well, when you go up on stage, it's go time and you have to perform. What do you do when something's maybe clouding your mind or something like that?
Great question. I'm great at compartmentalizing. The job is more important. I go into total stealth. I'm aware of the other stuff. I put it aside. Do not bring that stuff with you. I had to carry the weight of some very heavy stuff while I'm on tour.
Right.
I just deal with it. I just deal. Your job is this. I don't even tell the people in the band what I'm going through.
The job comes first.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is being a king, or if you're a woman, a queen. A king has to make a decision based on all the information they've gathered from his advisors, and you've got to make a decision for the realm. And in many cases, the advisors I'm communicating with are inside here, or there may be a few people I'm talking to about these difficult situations. But the realm, the people that are fighting for you, that are out there, or the team, they don't need to know about that stuff.
Right.
They're looking at you because you're the king. I don't want to present any weakness. I don't want to present anything but the utmost confidence where they can look back and go, God, thank God Kenny's back there.
Yeah, man.
He's the king.
That's great.
So that's how I handle it. And that makes me feel good that I can be that person.
Oh, yeah.
Be responsible. You don't need to be telling everybody, oh, the drama. They want to see strength, not weakness.
Exactly.
Especially the drummer.
Oh, yeah. The
So
drummer's the
that's-
backbone, right?
That's how I compartmentalize.
That's great.
Just do it.
Wow. The entertainment industry as a whole, but I feel like especially the music industry, has been historically riddled with addiction, right? You know, the recurring motif of the 27 Club,
Yeah.
all these people that have passed away.
Yeah, 27 Club, Kurt Cobain.
What did you do to stay not only so healthy, but you know you're thriving, right? Like you're in incredible shape. So what have you done to stay away from all of the unhealthy stuff and really go deep into all the healthy stuff?
Well, first of all, my career is more important than anything. I created a thing called a healthy life is a wealthy life, or a wealthy life is a healthy life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and there are 8 steps to being healthy. 1, lifting weights. I'll try to go through them fast. Lifting weights obviously builds muscle definition, but more importantly, it builds up your hormone levels. It keeps your hormone levels elevated, which keeps your immune system elevated.
Oh, yeah.
Immune system. So you look good, you're strong, but you're keeping your hormone levels, which go down even in your 20s. Number 2, the only way to exercise the heart is cardio.
Right.
So some form of cardio, and cardio does the same thing. It elevates your hormone levels, which elevates your immune system. It keeps everything going.
Feel good inside and out, right?
Yeah. Number 3 is stretching, some form of yoga to have flexible. So when you're lifting weights and you're strong and you get tightened up, you need to stretch to create flexibility.
Yep.
So now you got strength, endurance, and flexibility. Number 4 is diet, and I could spend an hour on diet.
Oh, yeah.
You got to figure out what type of person you are, what works for you. I get blood work every year, sometimes twice a year. Blood work tells everything.
Yep.
If you're eating improperly, the signs will
it'll
show.
show up.
So I will reset and correct myself. It's a work in progress, and your body changes. So diet is everything.
Absolutely.
5 supplements. I take a lot of supplements, a lot of D, fish oil, green food. I take quercetin, encapsulates your cells. You can have a virus in you, but quercetin has a way of keeping the virus out of your cells, things like that. I can go on and on. There's a lot of supplements I take. Okay, so now that's number 5. Number 6 is water. Every cell in your body needs water. I start the day off with 2 large glasses of water, even if I don't want to. Then I get into my coffee. I mean, you can live 40 days without food. You can only live 3 days without water. Everything starts shutting down. So water is pretty important.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, number 7, finally, we're back to what I was talking about, meditation, which is the alleviation of stress. That's crucial.
Absolutely.
The worst thing for health is stress.
Yeah.
So to alleviate stress, you can meditate or sit in a chair with your eyes closed. I'm so hyper that when I shut my eyes, it's like the 4th of July, pew, 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 or in the middle of a Star Wars battle. And but eventually, I slow down and will pass out. And that is meditation. That is a basic, rough form of meditation where you actually relax and let it all go.
Slow down your mind.
Yeah, and that is a healthy thing for you.
Absolutely.
Because stress is not good for you. Everything I talked about is useless if you're stressed out.
Right.
You're not healthy if you're stressed out. Oh, I don't care what you eat, you're going to go down. So that's number 7, and finally number 8 is sleep, which I'm not great at. But if you can get 7 or 8 hours of sleep, even if it's intermittent like me, 5 different sets, 4 or 5, if you get 7 or 8 hours of sleep, that's how you repair your body mentally and physically. Those are my 8 steps to a healthy life, to a wealthy life, you know.
That's fantastic.
I have a commandment. There's 10 commandments, but the 11th one is a cool one.
Oh, yeah?
11th one is, thou shalt not bullshit thyself.
Oh, man, we need that today. We need that today more than ever, man.
That's the all-encompassing commandment. Start by, don't bullshit yourself. Be honest with yourself.
Yeah, man. Then you can be honest with everybody else, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. How has streaming changed music? Because you used to have to, go down to the record store and search through, and now you can just pull out your little magic iPhone box and be like, ooh, new music.
Yeah, streaming led to, downloading led to YouTube.
Right.
It's all free. And, people will pay a prescription. Like I pay for iTunes, so I can get any song I want when I'm on the internet. But, really, really hurt record sales.
Oh, I bet.
Horribly.
For sure.
And that affects producers that get back-end payments. They get a percentage of how many records are sold. And songwriters, same thing.
Yeah, so the whole industry took
The whole industry just completely changed.
Right. Wow.
It's pretty much broken.
Yeah, I mean, it's... The whole business model seemed like it completely changed, right? Because instead of going for dollars, we're going to put this on the radio and see if we can sell as many as we can. You no longer have something to sell, kind of, because you're just giving it for free. Yeah,
exactly. It's more of a marketing tool. Music is a marketing tool. It's an opportunity for you to give something to the people, but they're going to make their money on ticket sales.
Right.
Now, or merch or whatever.
So you talked a little bit at the beginning of this how you followed your passion from the time that you were 10 years old till now. There's 2 schools of thought in this category, the career category. There's either what you did, which is follow your passion for your career, or you can fund your passion with your career, right? I like model trains, so I'm going to go to work for 8 hours and come back and spend money on my model trains. Whatever it is. What do you think What advice would you give to a person who's trying to choose between these two? Should I follow my passion for my career, or should I fund my passion with my career?
Both. You can do both, because you gotta fund your passion in many ways. You gotta be able to make enough money so that you can do what you love doing.
Right.
So that's the way I look at it. You gotta do it. If it's the type of thing where, I can't live without doing this, then you
Right.
figure it out.
Yeah.
You do as many jobs you have to do to fund your passion to do what you love doing, which is going to make you happy,
That's great.
which then affects everybody else.
Oh yeah, because if you're happy, everybody else
Yeah.
is slightly happier, which makes
Yeah.
everybody else slightly happier.
Exactly.
It's a ripple effect. Like
The
you said.
ripple effect.
I love that. That's so fantastic. So, what would be your advice to a young person? Maybe not trying to make it in the music industry like you did, but trying to get to the top or the pinnacle of a super crowded industry like you. Do you think they should just go all in, burn the boats, or do you think they should hedge that risk a little bit and have a plan B?
Only you can make that decision to have a plan B, because, there's no guarantees that anybody's going to make it. Like I said, I thought I was going to make it, but if I knew what I know now, I'd be like, oh man, boy, it's a good thing you didn't. It's a good thing you thought you were going to make it, because it's not that easy. It's not obvious. You don't go walk through door number 1 and come out door number 2 successful. So have a plan B if that's what makes you feel good. There's no one formula for everyone.
Right. Nothing is ever just one way.
I mean, in some ways, I created different businesses. I have a speaking business. I'm a speaker. I speak all over the world in front of corporations and people, and that's an income revenue. I've got Uncommon Studios LA. I saw the music business was starting to fall apart, so I created a studio. I can record people's stuff in here every day.
Right.
That's who I wrote a book. Sex, Drums, Rock and Roll.
It's a great title.
Yeah, it's the hardest hitting man in show business, and that was a fun thing that I thought would tie in with my speaking, and there's a source of income there too.
Right.
It's just I created different things to be diverse, since the business is starting to get a little shaky.
A bit of a renaissance man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Let me ask you this: what role does kind of a hunger for greatness and really wanting to be the best play into actually getting to the top of an industry or whatever? Because there's a lot of people that work super, super hard, like ditch diggers, for example, and they don't make so much money. And there's lots of people that seem like they don't work so hard and make a ton of money. Do you think that hard work is still valid in today's day and age, or do you think there's some ways to work smarter?
Well, hard work, you can't substitute for hard work.
No replacement.
Yeah, it's no replacement, because it's not just you work hard, you're learning. And in order for this quarterback or golfer to be great at what they do, they have to practice. A golfer has to practice his putts.
Absolutely.
2 hours a day. He's got to practice his chip shots 2 hours a day. He's got to practice his drive 2 hours a day to just be in the game.
Right.
I have a functional practice routine. I do it. I know it works. It makes me sound amazing. If I don't do it, I lose something every day.
I got you.
So I try to do it. I'll do it every day, just to be Kenny Aronoff.
Wow.
You just got to understand that about you can't just wake up and be. Maybe a few people could be, but my feeling is if you work hard, you'll be even better than what you were.
Right.
And you're learning. You learn, oh, wow, I've done that for about 20 years, and now I realize I've been doing it wrong. You learn from
Absolutely.
experimenting and going through the process of working hard and practicing. You learn all kinds of things about yourself. They're important.
There's a quote that I love by Alex Ramosi. I think he says, "Hard work works on you more than you work on it," which is great in many ways.
That's
right?
phenomenal.
Do you think that that for people in my generation, maybe a little bit younger, that we should focus more on hard work?
Well, if you're not working hard, you should focus on hard work and understand how the value of it and what it brings you. I'm not one that supports laziness and entitlement. It's not sustainable.
Right.
And even if it was, let's say somebody's going to give you a certain amount of money every month, you know, a part of self-development and growth and being great at something is going through the routine of working, things not going out right, learning from that, adjust. It's the whole process is the value, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've been voted the best drummer in the world many times by many different publications. You're on almost every best drummers list of all time. Wow. And you've really reached the pinnacle of a very tough industry. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to stand out in a very crowded industry like you did?
Okay, I think everybody's, the biggest, most important value in every person is them being exactly who they are. Mm. Because nobody's like you. Nobody's like you. Your emotion, I mean, what percentage of it is my spirit and my emotion, and what percentage is the notes I'm playing? Right. And the tuning of the drums. Right. I mean, why Buddy Rich, could, you know, one of the greatest jazz drummers ever and a humongous personality, could get some sticks and just play on a cardboard box and there'd be some excitement there. Because the person behind that, the playing of the cardboard box is Buddy Rich, you know?
True authenticity.
So when your biggest asset for anybody is to practice, but always try to be you. Mm-hmm. What is your sound? What is your personality?
Absolutely.
You know, and that's the way to. Otherwise, you're chasing after something that may not be you. Mm.
So, after you made Jack and Diane with John Mellencamp, I heard you say this in an interview. He came to you with a guitar tune, played it for you once or twice, and then he said, "All right, Kenny, make me a hit."
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, I kept wondering, like, after Jack and Diane came out, why is he always
asking me for it?
Why is he always asking me? You know, he's playing this song and everybody, and it might not have been every single time, but a lot of it was, and I was like, because later on I realized, because he wants another hit single. Right. I did it to him, to one of his songs, do it again, Kenny. So I came up with a method, a 4-step method. It's like, I'd be like, oh my God, he's going to ask me. So I think, okay, let's simplify this. What's the obvious beat to this song? Okay, now I'm going to embellish it. Do something different with my foot. Mm. Now I'm going to embellish it again. And finally, fourth thing, think out of the box. Mm. Okay, let's see. What would the drummer from Rush do? Well, that doesn't have anything to do with our music. But maybe I'll grab something from that process of grabbing him, what he does. And it did work a lot of times. So John would go, all right, what you got, man? I go, this. Oh, that's a stupid beat. How about this one? Oh, that's not bad. How about this one, John? Oh, that's pretty good, too. You know, and maybe like the third. Right. And that's how I got the better of that situation. I felt like I had at least, you know, something to say, something to bring to the table. Mm-hmm. See, finding solutions to problems requires creativity and innovation. That's how I came up with the answer to Jack and Diane. Mm. Came up with a creative idea, an innovative idea that made that song get on the radio and become a #1 hit.
That's fantastic. So you start doing what is kind of asked of you from the music, and then you do something a little crazier, and then something completely out of the box.
Yeah, and I have those things ready when I'm listening to him play songs, so that, you know, and I have it all worked out exactly, but I definitely have 4 ideas for him. Right. And that's how I would get around the stress of like, what do you got, Kenny? You know?
That's fantastic. I love that. Ooh, this is such a good one. Okay. So this is a question from my dad. He says, I know a number of people who have worked with you, and they all say that you're a genius in getting along with people. What do you think the importance of collaboration is inside of the career category, just collaboration in general?
Don was a producer who got interviewed there and said, Kenny saves my sessions. he brings energy to this room. He realized when we did this Iggy Pop record, there's a story in there, I won't say it now, but basically I came in the room and I'd been out talking to the receptionist, I don't know, whatever. I came in, the room they were going through a dark moment, and I came and completely changed the whole room by my naive childlike like kind of behavior, and went out there and just pummeled that song. And they had to redo all their parts for the first 90 seconds to catch up to me. And that's what Don went, holy jeez, this guy actually knows how to connect with people and move the room into a direction. And I'd say that's as much my gift as being able to play the drums.
Very interesting.
Is to be able to connect with people and generate an energy. And you know, I mean, see, you got to look at it this way too. It's not just good enough that I come up with a good drum part and play great on a record. What if the bass player and the guitar player don't play great? Then the song doesn't get on the record.
Right.
Then it doesn't get on the radio. So what's the North Star? To get it on the radio. So there's a thing I call co-elevation. Co-elevation is where we all have to be great.
You're all held to that standard.
I'm aware of the whole room, because in order for me to be on a #1 hit single, I need them to do a good job. The engineer, the producer. What can I do to help co-elevate? You know, if somebody came up to me and goes like, you know, man, I'm like, dude, you seem like you're not having a good time. And, yeah, the dude over there is a pain in the ass. I said, he's not the problem, you're the problem. You got to figure out how to get along with him.
I love that. I love that.
You have to get along with him, because I need you to be good so that I can be on a #1 hit single.
Yeah, we all got to be sharp so that we can make the best thing possible.
I have to admit, I've never actually said that to somebody, but that's the concept. It's like, we all have to go. We have to go together and be great. That's how we say it. So it starts with connecting with people and then be able to communicate so that we can collaborate and whatever it takes. And some people are difficult to work with. That doesn't mean you don't stop. You still have to continue to communicate with them.
Right.
What's your North Star? To be on a #1 hit single. It's being aware of it is the most important thing. Anything like we're talking about here is being aware of these things and then acting on it.
Absolutely.
You got to be aware of it first.
Yep.
Otherwise, you don't know what you're acting on.
Well, yeah. The 11th commandment is
Thou shalt not bullshit thyself.
thou shalt not bullshit thyself is so great. That's so great.
It should be the first commandment.
It's absolutely true though, because if you haven't come to terms with a thing, if you're not conscious about a thing, then how could anybody else ever call it out?
You're gonna bullshit yourself through this stuff, you know. Come clean. I mean, sometimes you got to zip it, you know, because it's not worth it. Like, you can't sit there and go like, you're a blah, 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 and you're fired. Well, that didn't help you.
Right.
These are great questions, man.
Thank you. My dad helped me a lot on these. So let's talk about something that we have at Lifebook called category interconnectivity. It's how certain categories connect with each other, right? So for you, we could say your career, since you're very physical, it could interconnect with health and fitness. How has having high levels of health and fitness impacted your career?
Oh my God, sustainability, energy, always being able to maintain a 3-hour show. I never drop. I can go to the end. As a matter of fact, I got reserves. Understanding, like with Joe Satriani, we don't do sound check. So I have a 2.5-hour routine in my room I go through. 15 minutes before it's time to go on stage, I start doing 100 jumping jacks. On the edge of the stage, when I'm put in position, because we have a stage manager, get put in position, I do 50 more. So when I walk on stage, I know I figured out that made it possible we come out, bam, at 100%.
That's amazing.
If I don't, I'm in trouble.
Exactly.
Knowing what to eat, how much to sleep, take a power nap at a certain time. Or let's say, I remember I was on tour and I had to take an antibiotic. And the antibiotic, you know, makes you weaker, less cognitive. I do things, being aware of being healthy and being aware of your fitness means I'm doing things to counteract those things. Once again, what's my North Star? Killer show.
Right.
And Kenny Aronoff to be amazing at every show for the band and the audience. I mean, what I'm trying to say is I identify what my physical condition is to work with it and be aware of it, just the way it is.
You work with your physical condition. I love that, not against it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, no excuses for anything. Do the best you can. And at the end, here's another thing. This may not be relevant to the question you said, but at the end of a show, if you did something that you wish you hadn't done, don't talk about it. Be be the king. If you talk about it, you give it power.
Right.
And then other people start talking about it. They heard it, most likely. Don't talk about it. It takes more strength and power to just hold your head high. So if someone says, hey, I says, yeah, I know. Won't happen tomorrow. Kill it. Boom. And live with that feeling, because, you know, when you're highly competitive like I am, it's like you're burning inside, like, God. But I also understand the value of, like, hey, dude, you'll be better tomorrow. I'll go back to my room next day, that thing that didn't work out, might do it 50 times in a row.
Just to really kill it, right?
Yeah, you don't want that to happen again. So what are you going to do? RPS. Repeat, 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 repeat.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
My dad has this I wouldn't really call it a quote, but it's more of a saying that he says, where he goes, the best result of, let's say, this job that you're doing or whatever is not the money that you'll get, or not whatever accolades you'll have, but it's your own personal development, who you'll be at the end of that.
Yeah.
If you got 2 job opportunities, this one pays you $2,000 more than this one.
Right.
You should pick the one where you're like, okay, on the other side of this job, who am I going to be? If I'm going to be sad, this guy, I don't want to be that guy. I want to do this. So let me ask you, what was the biggest takeaway you had from doing Lifebook the first time, taking all inventory of all categories of your life? What was the biggest takeaway?
Oh, the biggest takeaway was that, oh my God, you could be A+ at this, and this, B at this, and you might have a couple of Ds. And I went, oh, I see the value in bringing the Ds up to Bs or even As, because they all work together.
Category interconnect.
It's like an offensive line or defensive line in football. You're only as good as your weakest man.
Absolutely.
And the trouble will find its way to that weakest man. So that was like, oh, wow. Yeah, man, you're A+ at this. But I love the idea of bringing the bottom level. So I'm like, I like to be the A+ on everything guy.
Absolutely.
I'm that guy. And then I understand that, you know, that's a work in progress for the rest of your life. Because I'm human, you know? Right. And that's fine. I'll never be as great as I want to be. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be as great as I can be. That's fine. I love it. Come on, let's go. What's today? I'll get in bed at night. I do this thing where I go, did great, Kenny. You practiced your speech. You practiced your technique. You practiced the Sammy Hagar stuff. Great. You did this, you did this, you did this. Bam. Yeah, you did a good job, Kenny. I say that stuff before I go to bed because that stuff makes you sleep better. It's you're the coach and the player.
Oh yeah.
As opposed to going like right before you go to sleep, all this negative stuff. Forget the negative stuff.
Oh, I didn't do this. I could have done that better. I could have said this.
You make a mental note, you make a list, and next day you can go, I feel great because I did these things that I didn't do the other day. I feel great today because I did them. It's all positive energy. Positive. You got to work at it, man. Some people naturally go into a negative space. Fine, but don't feed into it. Steer yourself in the direction that's going to benefit you the most.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. It's great questions, man.